8.
You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales. Streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
So I'm still doing the Warhammer figures. I haven't talked about them in a while. But these guys got me. They got me good on this one. I used to play World of Warcraft. And I had a warlock. And I wanted a clever name for the warlock. So I looked up a bunch of stuff and I finally found Zelmuth. Zelmuth is the Hebrew word for the shadow of death. At least that's what I found at the time. I don't know if, but anyway. So, played this character for a long time. Now I'm building these Warhammer figures. And I've got my Grey Knights army, which is ready for play. I've got the Combat Patrol ready. I got a few extra figures down here I got to paint if I want to build a bigger army. I bought another army, Combat Patrol, just so other people could play if they came over, like they wanted to try it out. I'm in the midst of painting them. My girlfriend decided to get into the game, but the army she picked is for Age of Sigmar, which is the fantasy side. These guys are the sci-fi side, 40K. So then I needed an army to play against her. So I started building these Knights of Chaos. Slaves to Chaos. They announced a special order, a limited edition figure the other day. Zarkith, the Bane of Law. And I thought, he is way too close to Zelmuth for me to pass this up. So I still need to paint a bunch of figures, but now I have one more to paint. Stay tuned for the Dan Wickline Show.
Did you know that Arthur, King of the Britons, in Monty Python and the Holy Grail was played by a famous Graham? Check out another famous Graham by following our Instagram.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. As you can see, I'm making some changes to the wall. This one stayed the same so far. Might change up soon. This one had to move because I kept hitting it with my chair, ended up breaking it. That moved up and to that way. And my tribute picture to Artemis, who I had to put down a couple months ago, I thought this is a good place for her. That way she's with me when I do my shows. Made me think, I got this spot right here. I think publishers should send me a poster, to sponsor the show for a week or two, and I'll put their poster up. So if you're a publisher or doing a Kickstarter and you've got a poster you want to send to me, and we can talk about it. Should probably charge, but we'll figure that out. Maybe you buy the next Warhammer figure for me, and I put up your poster for a month or during your thing. Yeah, I should think about that. Anyway, let's get into the show. We've got a lot going on. By the way, I want to say hello to Ed and Triple B. Good to see you. Please hit those like and subscribe buttons. And we just had a conversation the other day within the network, and it says that it helps the algorithm if people comment on the show on YouTube after it's been aired. So if you guys get a chance and can pop into it on YouTube and just say hello, literally just hi, or supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, or anything you want. If you could put a comment in there, it would really help out the algorithm and get me some more views, and I would appreciate it. All right. So today, talk a little bit about the Penguin. We're going to talk a lot about Agatha. And if you haven't seen last night's episode, wow. Literally the best episode of the season. Maybe the best single episode that Marvel has put on TV. Definitely in the top 5. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to go over the news. Stuff like that. But, if you guys have any comments, questions. Oh, and we're going to absolutely break down the character of Wiccan now that we know he's part of the MCU, to talk about his really bizarre MCU or Marvel Comics history, because it's bizarre. So let's jump into the news. If I seem a little off, it's because I had some peanuts right before the show started. Peanuts. And they're still there. They're not going away yet. So, all right. Well, we got lots of good news here. Tom Holland is hitting the interview circuit. And of course, he's being asked about the new Spider-Man movie. And to our surprise, he answered. Spider-Man 4 is going to happen. And it's going to start shooting next summer. Which makes me think the rumors of Destin Daniel Cretton being the director is probably likely. See, Tom was on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. And we all know that he's really bad about keeping secrets. But what he said was that he is super excited about the show or the movie. Everything is good to go. And he said the idea is crazy. It's a little different to anything we've done before, but I think fans are going to really respond to it. Now, the thing that blows my mind is, Tom Holland's been playing this character for a decade. Yep. He first appeared in the 2016 Captain America Civil War. So by the time the next movie comes out, it'll be 10 years, and he'll be in 7 films in 10 years. That's just amazing. So that's the good side. The bad side is that what probably comes as nobody's surprise, Disney and Marvel have removed Blade from the release calendar. Now, this thing has been delayed so often that originally it was, most recently slated for November 7th, 2025. And it's been kind of in the works since Mahershala Ali came out and said he, was going to play Blade. Well, now going into that November 7th slot is going to be Predator Badlands. And Blade has not gotten a new date. Now, what's funny is in the same announcement, they also stated there's 3 upcoming movies that they're adding to the slate, all for 2028. So this would be either the epilogue for the multiverse saga or the beginning of whatever the next saga is. So the movies are going to be February 18th, 2028, May 5th, 2028, November 10th, 2028. And that seems to be what Marvel likes. We got a February, a May, and a November film. And those usually do pretty well. So in May is usually the big one, the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Avengers. So we'll see. November is usually where Thor sits. February is more of a Deadpool or Captain America, New World Order or Strange New World is going to be there. So, all right. Since we are going to be talking about Agatha all along, there was a story that I came across that really kind of surprised me. Is that it wasn't always evident to them that Wiccan or Billy should be in the series. Jack Schaefer said, I know it's sort of feels like it should have been self-evident. I mean, we had an idea that we were locked in on before the writer's room. So it was way early, but in my early brainstorming for Agatha all along, it was so important to me that it be her story. But once that piece clicked in, it did feel right. So yeah, when they started this, there wasn't a Billy. there wasn't that character. But what there was, she said, so my early idea was I wanted some sort of goth teen or a group of goth teens. I love The Craft, the movie, and I really liked the idea of this ancient witch coming to contact with younger witches. I feel that Agatha is at her best as a mentor. So I was looking for that relationship. It was executive producer Mary Livanos who came up with the idea that it should be Billy for the role. Then once we were into it, okay, it's going to be Billy. How do we do that? What do we do? Those specific conversations with Marvel, especially, I don't remember a lot of the details to them. I mostly remember being in the writer's room and trying to figure out who this young man is, how we can best serve him. The structure that we came up with, where he is eager fanboy who loves witchcraft and is studying at the feet of these women, we loved front loading with that. But it felt thin and disingenuous to have that be all there is. So it was so fun to be able to break it so that his complexity and darkness and the texture of him would detonate at the midpoint. Now, the power of Billy, called Wiccan, first appeared, the powered version of Billy, called Wiccan, first appeared in the Young Avengers, a group of teen heroes that we've been meeting all over the MCU. Now, Schaefer was asked if this was part of bringing the team together, the Young Avengers. She said, I'm not working on anything else right now for Marvel, but it is my hope that there will be more, both because I'm such an admirer of Joe's and because I think the character is really interesting. My voice is getting choppy. JD, are you noticing anything?
No, it sounds fine from here.
Okay.
No, refresh.
All right. Let's go on to The Penguin, the other great show going on right now. Viewers aren't seeming to be upset that there's no Batman in the show. I mean, this is a dark, violent drama, and like shows like that on HBO, like The Sopranos and True Detective, this show is growing week by week, which is rare for a TV show. Normally, you get that debut and then it kind of peters off, but this one has grown like 100,000 viewers every new Sunday. This last episode averaged 1.8 million across all platform or US platforms. That's the strongest single day performance of the series so far. Last episode was 1.7 million. So it was 1.6 prior to that. So it really is gaining. Not only is it keeping its audience, it's gaining an extra 100,000 people. So these are people who are, there's still certain people out there who are binge watching this series. And by the way, this is not a series to binge watch. This is a series that having those breaks in there help, because they give you those days to ruminate about it, to really think about it. And that makes the show even better. So, by the way, so far, the first episode has tallied 14 million viewers. So this show is doing really, really well. Hey, Kenneth, good to see you. Now, originally, speaking of the Penguin, we had heard that Mark Strong came in to replace John Turturro because the actor wasn't available. But now we're kind of getting it from Turturro that it was something different. He was talking to Variety, and he said, I did what I wanted to with the role. In the show, there was a lot of violence towards women, and that's not my thing. And I'm not sure who would come out and say, yeah, that's my thing. No. I think you were safe, didn't need to add that part, John. But while he was a brutal character in the Batman, Turturro said that most of what he did in there was off screen, which isn't true, because he does try to choke Selena, played by Zoe Kravitz, on screen, where the character Carmine doesn't actually do anything violent on screen in The Penguin. So that just seems kind of a flip, doesn't it? Turturro also said it was partly because he had more opportunities than time, saying, you can't do everything you want to. Now, Strong appeared in 2 episodes as Carmine Falcone. And like I said, he doesn't really do anything violent in it. So I don't quite understand. Turturro, I think, was better off just saying, yeah, I wasn't available. I had other commitments. All right, this was my big happy news story from the weekend. Translation, the dump truck full of money wasn't big enough. Yeah, probably. Yep. Or, I don't do TV. We got confirmation at the New York Comic Con that Batman Hush 2, or what they're calling it H2SH, will kick off in March of 2025. And it's going to be issue number 158 of the main Batman series. So like the original series, it's going to take place within continuity, which I love. I love that, Batman the Hush started in number 608. And that's what you want. It's just the next story. Also, it's going to reunite the original creative team. And I don't mean just writer Jeff Loeb and artist Jim Lee. Inker Scott Williams, colorist Alex Sinclair, and letterer Richard Starkings. All of these guys are phenomenal at what they do. Richard Starkings is one of the best letterers, period. He creates fonts to sell. Alex Sinclair has been coloring Jim Lee for so long, it's like probably a shorthand between them. And Scott Williams is the best inker for Jim Lee, just period. He's good on other people too, but the synchronicity between them is perfect. Now, there will be a prelude to it in Justice League Unlimited number 1. And then it's going to be a 6-issue story that's supposed to resolve the Hush storyline from 2 decades ago. I'm not sure what's left unresolved, so I am fascinated by this. By the way, Justice League number 1 will be in shops in November. And then, like I said, this is just picking up in the main continuity of Batman. So Chip Zdarsky and Jorge Jimenez will finish their run in February, and then Lee and Loeb will take over in March. Love that. Fans of Critical Role and Legend of Vox Machina, like my friend Ed here, are happy to hear that a season 4 renewal has already been ordered ahead of the season finale. Now, the season finale is tomorrow night? No, tonight. So, yep, we're going to get more Legend of Vox Machina, a 4th season. And I know I'm pretty jazzed about that. I love that show. Plus, there's supposed to be a Mighty 9 in the works as well. So, I bawled my eyes out watching Sam's video. Oh, yeah. Yep. And yeah, that is great news, Ed. Okay, one last news story, then we'll take a break. Fans of Good Omens. Everything has been kind of up in the air since Neil Gaiman has been accused of sexual assault by multiple women. A lot of the shows he was working on have taken a break. I don't know what's going on with Sandman. I know that Dead Boy Detectives is done. They're not doing anymore. I think the Graveyard Book project has been completely stopped. Good Omens season 3. That has hit a bump. They've finally figured out how to continue it, but it's not going to be a full 3rd final season, which was planned. What they're going to do is a single 90-minute episode that will wrap up the storyline. And that Gaiman has already helped with the writing idea, but he will not be doing anything more on the series. He will not be an executive producer on it. He's going to lose his executive producer credit for that. So he is completely stepping away from Good Omens, whether they're pushing him away or he's stepping away, but he's done. So Good Omens 3 will happen, but it's just an episode. It's like they're finishing it with a movie, a 90-minute movie. So we'll see how that works out. I love the Good Omens series. David Tennant and Michael Sheen are brilliant in it. And it disappoints that we're not going to get multiple episodes, but I look forward to seeing whatever they do. So, all right, guys, let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk about Wiccan and Agatha All Along. We'll be right back.
Download our app on Google Play and the App Store. It's so simple, even my mommy can use it.
Symphonic verses, Nocturne's romance. A song of romanticized darkness, dreaming death by sleep.
By this time in our journey, we had been on the trail of a very elusive creature for about 96 hours. But all the hard work is about to pay off. Oh, crikey, there she is. Oh, by the markings, I'd say this one's at least a 9.8. Oh, she's a real beauty. A true mint copy. Oh, this one would make a fine slab on anyone's display wall. Oh, she's a feisty one, though. Look out, look out!
Mint Hunter Comics is the place to find that mint comic you've been searching for. Mint Hunter Comics, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, part of the experience.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dan Wickline Show here on the experience. Remember to stick around for the rest of the night. We got What's in the Box. We've got SketchUp. There's a show missing there.
Well, actually, normally it would be Geek Chat in there, but we set up a very special sales vintage show with our buddy Jeff, formerly of Jam Comics.
Formerly of what comics?
Jam Comics. We used to have a show on here
Oh.
called Jam Comics. Yep.
Okay, our former Jam Comics guy, Jeff, is going to be doing a pop-up show. We're going to start doing some pop-up shows around here. We got some ideas. This is going to be one of them. These will be special shows that just come up. And I actually pitched one to Kyle last night that he seems to like. So we'll see if we can put that together. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. So that's a good reason to be on our mailing list and our social medias. And to like and subscribe. So if we have a pop-up show, you will be notified and can see it when it's not our regular scheduled shows. All right, let's get into Agatha. Freaking wow. You throw the spoiler thing up just in case, because we're going to talk about last night's episode. Please. I remember the 5th episode thinking, and the number one thing that came out of it was, that was short. That felt short. But, the big reveal of Bill, the teen is Billy Maximoff or William Kaplan or Wiccan or however you want to refer to him. But the next episode, it still felt a little short, but it was so good. Going back in the past, connecting all the dots, seeing William become Billy, all of that stuff was great. Last night's episode, I don't know how long it is. It was perfect. Didn't feel short. It felt perfect. It felt like it ended exactly when it should have ended. It was timed amazingly. It was edited so well to piece together so many pieces that had been laid out over the season. This could have been a season finale. It was that good. Now, I know we still got a bunch of other stuff going on. But this is why you get Patti LuPone to be in your show when she's not the star. Because she could pull this off. This out of linear time thinking, this She lives her life out of linear time. She's basically a Christopher Nolan movie. And what they did with that was absolutely just brilliant. The way they tied together so much of the season. They explained everything from the sigil to the bizarre little fits she's been having her whole life. And it was so well done. It's like best supporting actress. The Emmys coming up at this point should be Colin Farrell for best lead actor, Kristen Milotti for best lead actress, Patti LuPone for best supporting actress. You can do what you want with best supporting actor. I don't care. That was just brilliant. Now, I don't want to get too much into it because I know a lot of people haven't had a chance to see it. But my only two things that I'm thinking is, one, that it almost feels like they did a bait and switch villain wise. Like, here your villains are chasing you. Here they come. Here they come. They're now taken off the table. Here's your real villain. If that's what they did, it's kind of cool, but also kind of, I don't know. It seems like the Salem 7 should have been more of a threat. And the other thing I don't get, and I'll try to say this out of context for anybody who hasn't seen it, but if you're going to put the sigil on Teen or on Billy so he can have a little time, why didn't you do something to keep the car crash from happening anyway? So you're like, yeah, go ahead, you're going to die, but that got me a little bit. That got me just a little bit. But now they needed a line. They just needed a line of, I knew I couldn't stop what was inevitable, but I could give you some time to adjust. I think a simple line like that would have taken that part away. All right. I just thought I was blown away by the episode. Lisa and I were watching it, and normally we talk through the show. Give us Mephisto, you cowards. I know, Jay, but you know what? I think with who Rio turns out to be, that's a big enough surprise. We've teased him, but I don't think we need to see him. Plus, there is the rumor that he's supposed to appear in Ironheart, so we'll see if that happens. So I think we're going to get him. Maybe not yet. All right. So what was I thinking? Yeah, we were watching the show, and normally we joke or talk or something like, oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. This whole episode, we were just silent watching it because it was riveting. It was really strong and had our attention. And I think the very first thing I said afterwards was, wow. And Lisa just went, yeah. I mean, that was pretty amazing. So honestly, that's the best show of the season. And it is definitely in the top 5 on anything Marvel's done on television. All right, let's talk about Wiccan. Because Wiccan's now a big character, but when you go back to him in comics, he is one of the most, he and his brother are one of the most convoluted set of characters ever. Now, we know that that's who Joe Locke is playing. He's playing William Kaplan, a.k.a. Billy Maximoff, a.k.a. Wiccan, a.k.a. Asgardian, but I'll explain that. So let's take the time to dive into this character. This is like Hawkman level complicated. If you're a comic reader, you know how complicated Hawkman is. Now, he was originally created, Little Billy, the kid, the baby version, was created by Steve Englehart and Richard Howell in the 1986 pages of The Vision and Scarlet Witch #12. From there, a bunch of stuff happens to him. And then he gets kind of recreated by Alan Heinberg and Jim Chung in Young Avengers #1, which debuted in 2005. Now, initially, the concept for him was that he was going to be kind of a cross between Scarlet Witch, his mother, and Thor. And he's supposed to be obsessed with the Asgardian cultures and stuff, so that when he debuts, he actually takes the name Asgardian. Now, I'm going to do my best here to kind of condense this origin into a bite-sized little piece so you guys can get it without all of the extra stuff. You know, what he did in the big events and stuff doesn't really matter. Right now, we're going to try to streamline it. So, Billy Maximoff and his twin brother Thomas were born to the mutant sorceress Wanda Maximoff and her android husband, the Vision. And yeah, I realize there's a lot of weird stuff going on there. Now, how this was done, because Wanda tapped into this great source of magical energy that she had. It was something that happened at the end of the Vision and Scarlet Witch series. She had access to this magical power she normally didn't have. And in doing so, she created these babies inside of her. This was the dream family she wanted. Now, what Wanda had actually done was she grabbed 2 pieces of essence from Mephisto that had been divided by Franklin Richards in a totally another story. So I'm not going to get into that one, but basically Mephisto had been broken into like 5 pieces or something like that. And she pulled on 2 of them to create her kids. And so they're not really children, they're magical constructs. And eventually Mephisto comes back to reclaim what is his, wiping away the existence of Billy and Tommy and reabsorbing their energy. Of course, this causes Wanda and the Vision to split after that because, you know, you lose your kids and bad, yeah. While this is a bizarre enough story, it gets weirder from there. Now, it's not clear if Mephisto was lying or if Wanda was tapping into, she has this reality warping ability sometimes. I say sometimes because sometimes she doesn't have it, so it's kind of weird too. But the 2 boys were then reborn years prior to Wanda and Vision getting married in the bodies of Thomas Shepard and William Kaplan. Now, the 2 are still physically identical except for hair color, and Billy is the eldest, but Billy is the eldest of 3 children born to Jeff, a cardiologist, and Rebecca, a psychologist, and they're raised in the Jewish religion. Now, Billy often got bullied, and on one such occasion, when he was injured, he met the Scarlet Witch, who healed him and told him to stand his ground. Well, a few weeks later, Billy stepped in to stop somebody else being bullied, and he ended up using his magical abilities for the first time. And at this point, he can fly, generate lightning, and cast spells. Now, we move forward to a time when the Avengers were disbanded after the Scarlet Witch had turned on them. The whole disassembled thing. A young, uncorrupted version of Kang the Conqueror comes back in time to find help. He's basically trying to get away from an older version of himself. But there was no Avengers to help. But he was able to activate a protocol that the Vision had created to recruit a team of young heroes who were connected to the Avengers. So Kang ends up taking, this young Kang takes the name Iron Lad, and he recruits Billy, who takes the name Asgardian, like I said, and he has others that he recruits, like Kate Bishop, Cassie Lang, Teddy Altman, and Teddy Altman's a shapeshifter going by the name of Hulkling. So he looks like a young version of the Hulk, but he's not tied to the Hulk at all. And pretty early on, Billy starts flirting with Teddy, and they kind of become an item, and that's an ongoing thing. Their relationship is an ongoing thing in the Marvel Universe. After their initial adventure, though, Billy decides to change his name to Wiccan, and he starts studying spellcasting. Now, we're going to go back a little bit, back during the days of the West Coast Avengers, The Scarlet Witch was attacked by a character named Master Pandemonium back when the boys were alive, and he was trying to take the boys because he knew what they were and tried to take them into himself. I think at one point there's a cover drawn by John Byrne that has Billy as one of his hands and Tommy as the other. It's a really, really creepy image. I should have pulled and let JD put it up. But so Master Pandemonium is a part of their history. Years later, now as members of the Young Avengers, Billy and Tommy decide to look for the Scarlet Witch because Billy's powers seem to be tied to hers. Now, they don't know for sure if she's their mom, but they have the idea. And their travels takes them to Genosha and Wundagore, and eventually they come across Master Pandemonium. But they don't fight. Master P recognizes Wiccan's magic is similar to the Scarlet Witch and kind of puts the pieces together, and he tells the boys about their history concerning Mephisto and their past and how it's all filled with darkness and chaos. And he recommends to them embracing who they are now and forgetting the past, which seems really out of character for a guy that was trying to steal children. But, maybe he reformed. Anyway, Billy takes this to heart and decides to stop looking for Wanda. And this is all good until the Young Avengers are battling a group called the Sons of the Serpent. And Wiccan loses control of his powers and renders the entire group of terrorists comatose. Now, the regular Avengers show up. This is back when they've reformed at this point. And they kind of take Wiccan into custody, in a sense. They take him back to their base to examine his powers because they're looking at him as possibly a Wanda-level threat. And again, this is a group that got totally decimated by the Scarlet Witch. Now, they explain to him Wanda's history of killing her teammates, like you do, changing reality and depowering or killing millions of mutants. And Billy shares that he believes that he and Tommy are the transposed souls of Wanda's children, and that she may not have been fully in control when she did those things. Now, the Avengers don't trust Scarlet Witch and are leery of Wiccan now. So they try to hold him for observations, but the Young Avengers bust him out. And they urge Wiccan to look for his mother, as they believe that knowing her children are alive could possibly cure her and allow her to reverse the damage she has done. Things that young children would believe. Well, they are then met by Magneto, who is Billy and Tommy's grandfather. So at this point, Billy's in somebody else's body, but he's got Scarlet Witch as a mother, Vision as a father, Magneto as a grandfather, and Quicksilver as an uncle. That is one screwed up family tree. Now, we're getting some stuff. Cool. What did JD pull? Yeah, there it is. The boys as the hands. See how creepy that is? That is just creepiness. All right. So Magneto shows up and he decides he wants the boys to know him. He wants to connect with his grandkids. Now, the Avengers try to get involved and supersede because it's freaking Magneto, only to have Wiccan teleport his team and Magneto to Wundagore Mountain. Now, the Avengers, they decide, we're not going to pursue that, but we're going to let Wiccan try to find his mom, and then we'll take care of them both at once. Now, Magneto and them find the grave of Magda, Wanda's mother and Magneto's ex. And Magneto tells the children about the birth of Wanda and her brother Pietro. And then Pietro shows up. And he wants to use Wiccan to find Wanda. And he believes to do that, he has to kill Magneto first. Yeah. And how he does it is he runs around and puts together a bunch of wooden stakes and then starts throwing them at Magneto because Magneto can't stop wood. Now, while he's doing this, Wanda shows up and gets impaled on one of these stakes. Except, dun dun dun, It's not really Wanda. It's a Doombot. Yes, Wanda is being held by Dr. Doom. See, we just kind of get deeper and deeper and deeper into this. Now, from there, everyone, including Magneto and Quicksilver, they start debating the idea of, should we invade Latveria? And, to save the Scarlet Witch. And they decide, well, let's sleep on it. Yeah. Comic soap opera for boys, exactly. Now, while all this is going on, the Avengers decide, hey, let's get Wonder Man, the guy who's had a crush on Wanda forever and is the brain patterns of the Vision. So I guess somehow he's tied into the Wiccan family tree too, to find Wanda and Wiccan. But he refuses. He's like, no, I'm not going to help you to destroy her. So he decides to look for her on his own, which we know is not a good idea. But we go back to the group, and Wiccan sneaks off and teleports into Latveria and disguises himself as the Scarlet Witch. There's some therapy pills coming up. And is led into a room by the Doombots. Like, hey, I'm home. Where are we going? Okay. In the room, he is then attacked by Wanda, who's got no memory of her life. But when Wiccan stops her and explains that he's there to rescue her, not telling her that he's her son, but she's like, no, there's no need. I love it here. I'm in love, and I'm going to get married. And guess who walks in? The groom, and the groom happens to be Dr. Doom. Yeah. Well, Dr. Doom, of course, attacks Wiccan and knocks him out. Later, he explains to Wiccan that he has truly fallen in love with Wanda, but has no idea how she ended up there. And Wiccan gets to explain everything to Wanda. While all this is going on just outside of Latveria, Wonder Man stops Magneto and the Young Avengers from invading the country. And then, of course, the Avengers jump into the fray because they were following Simon, because you knew that's what they were going to do. And this is an Avengers team that has Wolverine in it at the time. And the Wolverine tries to sneak off to kill Scarlet Witch and Wiccan on his own while everybody else is fighting. But Iron Lad sees this and stops him by explaining that if the world is going to survive, if the future has any chance, Wiccan must survive. Meanwhile, Wanda, over in Latveria, recovers her memories and uses her magic to prove that Billy is her son. She begs his forgiveness and now wants to make amends, starting with restoring the mutants. But then the X-Men show up and intervene and end up fighting the Avengers. Doom ends up and they start casting this spell to undo what she had done with the mutants, and Dr. Doom gets involved, and he ends up getting her reality-changing abilities, and Cassie Lang is killed, but then Doom gets stopped, and the Young Avengers disband. A lot more happens here, including he ends up being trained by Loki, of all people. But I think this stuff is, let's stick with the stuff that's important to the character we're seeing now. Because I don't think Loki's going to pop up in the show. He might, but I don't think so. So, power-wise, Wiccan can manipulate magical energies, allowing him to alter and warp reality, while others focused on flying and lightning-based spells. He has also used his ability to track and locate others, create illusions, pull down force fields, teleport, create concussive blasts. So basically like all the stuff Wanda could do. He's also considered one of the most powerful mages on Earth and is a potential candidate for Sorcerer Supreme. Yes, there will be a test on this later. Now, an interesting note and something the show tries to address, but in the comics, Wanda visits with the psychiatrist and confirms that Billy and Tommy are the reincarnated souls of her sons, but admits that since they're teenagers, she doesn't know if the spirits took over existing bodies, basically killing the souls that were in them, or if the souls went back in time to be born and raised by different parents. That's kind of a dicey one, isn't it? In the show, William Kaplan dies just as the hex is collapsing and Billy takes over his body, so you don't have that as creepy, except for we know that Lilia could have stopped it or told him something. But so now we got to see who Tommy hopped into, and someone else in the area died, or yeah. All right, guys, that's the history of Wiccan. I told you, super complicated, overly complicated. But we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, I've got some key collectibles from Wiccan for you. All right, we'll be right back.
Twitch, it's not just what happens when you have too many energy drinks anymore. Check out our content over there, too.
Boring old Tuesday. Kick it!
Hey, let's get to it.
Henri Copen scours collections and comic shops to bring you the biggest deals on beautiful comics.
I'm very eager to sell these books.
Plus, he smashes those other boring sales shows. Henri's got fire, excitement, personality, key books, FOMO books,
Sexy FOMO books for you.
a cute dog, weird accents,
69, bro.
a wheel of skid bark.
There's a wheel spin at the end of every show.
You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll score huge bargains.
That is Haktua magic right there, all right?
Kicking it with Henri, Tuesday nights, part of the experience. Ask your local comic shop to add Battle Quest comics to your pull list today.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons. And remember, if you can, come back after we've finished and post a comment on the YouTube thing. That'll really help with the algorithm, and I would appreciate it. Thank you. Just any kind of comment. Okay, get out your Scantrons. We're going to take the test. Somebody loan Preston a pencil. And Jay, if you're going to answer 42, you got to show your work. All right, let's get into the key collectibles. All right, this is where it all started. This is where Billy was born. First appearance of Billy Wiccan as a baby, along with Tommy, Vision and Scarlet Witch number 12 from 86. $15 on this, on the high end 5, and then low end is 1. There it is. I did actually pull this picture. They're more demonic looking here, aren't they? West Coast Avengers number 52 from 1989. This is the origin and death of Billy and Tommy. High end of this is $3, median is 2, low end is 1. Young Avengers number 1. This is the team that everybody keeps talking about is going to show up in the MCU. I think we've met most of these characters so far, or at least, we've met Billy, we've met the Patriot, stuff like that. We have a young Hulk, but not a Hulkling. So, Young Avengers number 1 from 2005's first appearance as Billy as Asgardian. High end is $100 on this. Median is 30. Low end is 10. Young Avengers number 2. This is his second appearance, of course. This one, the price goes boom. High end is 4, median is 2, low end is 1. Young Avengers presents number 3. This is a retelling of the origin of Wiccan and Speed. High end is 30, median is 6, low end is 3. This will tell you everything I just told you. Avengers: A Children's Crusade #1. This is a series that all of that stuff took place in. Them looking for Wanda, Doctor Doom, X-Men, everything. This is the start of the search for their mom. High end on this is 20, median is 8, low end is 2. This is Children's Crusade #9. This is the first kiss between Wiccan and Hulkling. They like stuff like that, the first kisses. And this is a team that, a pair that would end up going on getting married. High end is 25, median is 8, low end is 2. A reboot, a volume 2, Young Avengers #1 from 2013, where the team comes back together. You'll see Kate Bishop, you've got Novar, America Chavez, and young Loki. High end on this is 30, median is 9, low end is 3. And then the Young Avengers #5, and this is where they become an official team. High end is 3, median is 2, low end is 1. Preston says, never thought a first kiss would make it a collectible. It honestly does. Superman and Lois's first kiss probably does as well. I just don't know off the top of my head what issue that is. All right, real quick thoughts on the Penguin, because we didn't get a chance to talk about it yet. My thought is that this was probably the least strong episode of the season, yet it's still great. It was still great. Some of the things he does in the episode, like throwing the lighter. But I really, every time Oz does something, I think, really? You did that? That's the worst thing you could have done. So this show just gets crazier and crazier. Whenever you think of what's the least likely thing for Oz to do or for Sophia to do, that's what they're going to do. But also, shout out to Con O'Neill, returning as Chief of Police Burke, I think it is, from the Batman movie. It's nice to see him pop up. I got a friend of mine who's absolutely obsessed with Con O'Neill. She loves him and keeps going to conventions where he's at, not because of the Batman, but because of his role on Our Flags Mean Death. So, a very versatile actor. He also sings. So, it's cool to see him pop up. Jay says, hope you get a chance to review Superman and Lois one day. Watched episode 1 on CW app. What a tearjerker. That's one I do want to watch. I've got Max and stuff, so I should be able to sit down. It's just there's so many good things on. Not only are we watching Penguin and Agatha and Only Murders in the Building, but we're also catching up on Barry. I'd never watched Barry, and we're watching that. We're watching Ghosts. I'm not a sitcom guy, but it's a pretty well-written show. And still trying to get done with Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power. I'm loving the season, but it's hard. That's one that you 1, 2 episodes, then we go do something else. So just a lot of good stuff. And I got a chance to watch Dune Part 2 finally. I just been busy and loved it. And I'm looking forward to Dune Prophecy, which will take the Sunday night slot from Penguin when it finishes for the story of the Bene Gesserit. So I'm looking forward to that too. Plus, we're going to get something. Alex Cross is coming, or Cross is coming in November or December, which is Aldous Hodge as the character of Alex Cross. So there's a lot of great stuff coming up. Batman 3, when she was known as the Cat. Thank you, Preston. Or Preston, that's your answer. It was Batman #3. Can't afford that experience either. Or that issue either. Yeah. But it's probably in reprint books. So you could probably pick it up in a reprint. So, all right, guys. I think that's going to be our show. If you have any questions that I didn't get a chance to answer, any thoughts, you can put those in the YouTube as well, and I'll start checking. I'll start looking for it. And if you have a good question, you put it in there. I'll look for them and I'll bring them up this week or next week. So, or if you have an idea for a show topic, or something you want to cover, put it in the YouTube. comments, and I'll see it, and then we'll talk about it later on. Okay, guys? Thank you for tuning in. Remember to stick around for what's in the box, and sketch up, hit the like and subscribe, and we will see you guys soon. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.